2,000. And yeah, they don't even charge 2,000 now. They are charging 3,000. And it's wrong. But I can say, and we all would agree, that a Goro person is outside the passport office. They need somebody inside to work with. They cannot do it on their own. People are paying 3,000, 2,000 to acquire passports. Why should this be so? And sometimes they don't even carry out the so-called service that they promised them for charging them so much. The stories are horrific stories. People's experiences are not the best.
These are horrific. People's experiences aren't the best. But the question is, when did the minister find out about this situation? Is she just finding out based on reports, or has she known this all along? And is this the right way to go? I'll start off with you, Enoch. Good morning again.
Good morning, Bella.
All right. So like I asked, I mean, of course, maybe a step in the right direction, but a number of people have called this, a one-size-fits-all approach to addressing the issue instead of going into detail. She has people who work for her. Why are they not launching an investigation into this to find out who exactly are the culprits so they are dealt with?
Yeah, thank you. And I say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. Bella, the issue of passport acquisition has become an albatross on the neck of so many Ghanaians. I was at the passport office sometime in last month, 3rd July, just to renew my passport. And you could see that people jumping through the queues even without dates assigned to them. The dates, they have dates ahead, but they come through and they go through the process just to secure their passports, their renewals or new passports and the likes. Meanwhile, this IT system that was digitalization that was created was to reduce the human interface element in it and to make passport acquisition more efficient, easily accessible, affordable, as compared to the paper type of passport applications in the past. We are all aware in this country how these Goro boys operate. You go to the passport office. Before you enter the passport office, in the past, you meet these guys and they will tell you, whom are you applying through? They will ask you, even officials within the passport office will ask you, who is assisting you in your application? I never knew there were some intermediaries, officially acclaimed intermediaries, whom applicants were required to go through in terms of passport acquisition. But by and large, the government of the New Patriotic Party approached this issue diligently with the introduction of the digitalized passport application system, whereby you sit in the comfort of your home, go online, apply, fill in your details, and all that you are required to is to go to the passport office for your biometric data to be captured. With this system, some elements within the passport, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and other secondment staff of the public service or civil service, seconded to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to serve the country within the passport office, have colluded with these same Goro boys and still operating the cartel business that they used to operate in the past, causing delays in the acquisition of passports and bringing untold hardship to passport applicants too, and well-meaning Ghanaians who go into these offices to acquire services for themselves. By and large, those who go through the required procedure have their passports delayed. The standardized system, as the minister mentioned, that you pay just 100 Ghana cedis for the standardized application, 150 Ghana cedis for the expedited application. The expedited application, we know that if you want it to be expedited fast, as not going through the normal rudiment of time, is where you pay the 150 Ghana cedis. But as you rightly mentioned, people are paying 3,000, 2,000. I know somebody who needed a passport, just a renewal. The person paid, the young man paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for the acquisition of the passport. And as I mentioned, the date that was offered to this young man was 3rd July, like the same date because we use the same business center within the passport office.
Okay.
At the Accra Digital Center in our application. And lo and behold, he was just a step away from me. So when I went through the process and I had my application form printed, I had 3rd July to visit the passport center for the biometric capturing processes. His was also 3rd July. So because we are coming from the same side, he took my number and judging from Ghanaians, knowing that you are a government spokesperson or you speak on behalf of government and thereof, he thought that there could be some service that I could be of help to him.
So you went through the right channel.
I went through the right channel.
How much did you pay? Which?
I paid a normal fee.
Okay.
You know, with the business center, because they are offering services, I think they charge together 200 cedis or something with applications and those things.
Okay.
But he did the same thing, went through behind the scenes and paid 2,000 additionally to somebody. And before the 3rd July, he was called to go to the center with the form, just to go in and get his data, biometric data captured. And this is a testimony from me, because I have observed this. The young man paid 2,000 Ghana cedis to somebody who assisted him get clearance to go in while the date captured on his application form was not even due. Sometime in, is it June? He was called that he should go to the center, get his biometrics captured, and get the passport printed. And the passport was printed, and because he was away from town, they delivered the passport through me, and I gave the passport back to him.
Okay.
So, somebody who needs a passport, a young man of about 23 years or 24 years, paying 2,000 Ghana cedis to acquire passports, having paid the required official fee, he was required to also pay additional 2,000 Ghana cedis to a Goro person, an intermediary, to get passport.
But he won't be the first. This has been happening for many years.
No, I am sharing an experience.
Okay.
In confirming what the minister's assessing, the pain and agony that the minister is going through. You see, as the sector minister, the principle of ultimate responsibility dawns at the head doorsteps, because she is the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And its agency, the Passport Office, an agency of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, mandated or tasked with the responsibility of issuing a passport to well-meaning Ghanaians, citizens, who need the services of a passport, either for traveling purposes or for their own personal dealings. And having to go through all this chaotic situation, paying your way through before you can get passport acquired as a citizen of Ghana is not something which is good that we should encourage as citizens of this country. I share in the pain of the minister, because once people begin to raise the issue of corruption and perception, people will say that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is corrupt. And once they mention the ministry, who is the head of the ministry? It is Honorable Madam Shelia Ayekwa.
So that's why she went to the center to go and fire people?
Not to fire people. It is not the first time that a high-profile personality has visited an agency of state.
Okay.
You remember sometime in 2009, when the late Professor J.E. Mills, may he so rest in perfect peace, visited the Tema Harbour and accosted some customs officers in their under dealings where they were shortchanging the state with regards to the revenues that was due the state. You remember that incident?
I remember, but...
And after that incident, I think there were some series of reforms with regards to how the operations of customs at the Tema port and the revenue generation that should be for the interest of the state and for the benefit of the state as far as our developments were concerned, were protected, seemingly or in some forms or the other. Similarly, once the minister has gone to an agency beneath an agency within her ministry and has seen for herself as first hand some of these happenings, you know, her first point of call was to order the secondment staff or officers who are seconded, who have stayed within the agency for more than a year, to leave. Because per the requirements or per the regulations, secondment officers have a specific duration of which their secondment tenure should last. Okay. And some of them have stayed within the agency for more than 2-3 years. And you can be at the passport office and you see a police officer assisting somebody to go through. And once a police officer who is there to maintain law and order is leading somebody, it tells you will not be aware of what has gone, what has passed or exchanged hands. But at least from the actions that an officer, you are not required to even lead somebody. Now you go there at the entrance, you are given a number. You print your from the access control. The time that you enter, you print your number, and they will call maybe number 101 something. Then you join the queue and those kind of things.
Which I'm sure everybody knows. The question then is, when did this minister find out that this was happening? Because the media has constantly reported on the level of corruption at the passport offices across the country. People have called in constantly. I remember when there was even shortage of passports, papers here in Ghana. There was a conversation about a full-blown one. People complain that I've been waiting for months to get my passport, and someone goes to pay and then they get their passport and I'm still waiting for months. Are we saying that the minister did not know about this and suddenly she walks to the passport office in one day and fires people? Bella, respectfully, with regards to the delays in passport acquisition, you are aware that at a point in time, there was a report in the media that they have their printing machines broken down or something. They had a challenge. And that challenge suffered
it gave a huge, how do you call it, burden. It became a huge burden on the neck of the passport office because of the chunk of passport applications waiting to be printed, or passport approvals waiting to be printed, the books. They had shortage of books and all those things. And notwithstanding that, once these issues were brought to the attention of the minister, she did not just jump to the passport office. Probably it might be some of the leads that through the media you have given her, or through some personal reports that well-meaning Ghanaians who have suffered this fate has reported through the ministry, that she find time out of her busy schedule to go through, her schedules. It is not only the passport office; she has other tasks to perform as far as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and
But she's been minister for 7 years.
Yes.
This is the second time she still holds that position as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Even before that, she served as deputy under the current president as well, when he was the Foreign Affairs Minister. So is she saying she's not aware of this? So that's why I'm asking, that this rant that happened on Monday, was it necessary? Was that the right way to go?
You see, that was why, per her experience, judging from the experience that you have recounted, that she's been a deputy minister of foreign affairs in the SWA President Kufuor's administration, where the sitting president was then foreign affairs minister. She was the deputy foreign affairs minister. And having had an institutional memory of the dealings of this ministry, and in policy-driven wise, she thought it otherwise that, yes, in her tenure, she is going to implement a digitalized passport application system whereby the human element, the human interface will be reduced in terms of passport applications. But yes, still, people have found their way through in corrupting the whole processes. When we are pointing our fingers at politicians as being corrupt, we must also look within the public and civil service, so that holistically, we can all come together and fight corruption. The level of corruption within the public and civil service, if Bella, you put up your investigative lens and go into these matters, I believe it will be healthy for our democracy and the people of Ghana.
But there's a software that we developed, and that's supposed to sort of cut out the human interface to a large extent, thereby cutting down on corruption. Now, if this can't even fix the problem, then how are we going to fix this problem?
It calls for policy. Once you have implemented the policy review. Now that we have found out that yes, people can also go through backdoor or use other means of cheating this digitalized system, then there must be a review on this digitalized passport application to make it more robust.
In the 7th year?
More robust, so that these corrupt officials wouldn't have their way within this passport application system to corrupt the system.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the Minister of Foreign Affairs at a time when she was being vetted to take over the office for the second term. She was asked some specific questions about what her achievements have been in the first term. This is what she said.
Country. Now, what would you say are your two key achievements and your two major challenges in the past 4 years?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Two major achievements. I can think of many, but to do with passports, we've been able, since I was minister, or since I became minister, or during my tenure as minister, we've been able to, first of all, increase the number of passport application centers that I came to meet, which means that we are bringing passport acquisition close to the applicants. We have also, in collaboration with a private sector operator, set up
Jamal, sorry, we are following you through. You've increased it from what number to what number? From which capital in which region in Ghana for our record?
Yes, leader. We have set up a passport application center in Tema, in Koforidua, in Cape Coast, and in Wa. And we are almost close to completing preparations for the Upper East. We are also, sorry? Yes, we are also going to ensure, if I'm giving the nod, that the 6 new regions have their passport application centers. What we've also done, Honorable Chair, is to make passport application fully online. So far, it is working very well. So people are able to fill out their forms online. They are able to get their the dates and to choose which passport application center they want to visit. That is working very well. We have.
That's the Honourable Minister talking about how the digitized system for passport acquisition was working very well. This was when she was being vetted in 2021.
Sure.
Well, in 2023, and she's already going ballistic on workers. So at what point did she know that it was working well? And at what point did she discover then that maybe that statement she had made during her vetting didn't necessarily coincide with what was happening on the ground?
Bella, you can share in the pain of Honorable Sheila Yokobuchi that having touted this as an achievement and looking at what the achievement is turning out to be, it's worrisome. We all are aware that at the time of the implementation of these digitalized passport application centers, the people of Ghana hailed the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration and the New Patriotic Party for such an achievement.
People hailed her?
Yes.
Where?
Oh, in this republic. And you in the republic.
They hailed her for the digitized system?
Absolutely.
You saw that yourself?
I saw that myself.
Okay. Where, online? Or in the news, or where exactly?
Oh, traditional, personal, and a whole lot of things. When you sit in the cars, people who have applied the past to acquire passports and having gone through all those hurdles and sitting in the comfort of your homes and applying online, like, felt that, yes, this is a good thing to do.
Okay.
But you see, with time, these Goro boys and girls have found a way of outwitting the system. It means that the system should be re-looked at and some security measures put in place. I believe that at the point of entry, where you print your access and granted your visitor's number or your client's number is given you for you to join the queue, there should be a form whereby the barcode of your application form can be scanned, so that if you are qualified before that receipt is issued you, that will prevent these Goro boys from outwitting the system. At least it will also be an interface whereby it will block the activities.
But we didn't think about all this before we went ahead to
you cannot
talk about how the system was working fully well. Goro boys have been in existence for many years.
Bella, you cannot have everything 100% right. Certainly, you must start from somewhere, get elsewhere. Once you identify the weaknesses within the system, put in measures to strengthen the system to make it desirable as you deem it to be. And now, granted, that she's mentioned that some investigations are ongoing, that officers who have been reported, officers who have been accosted in these illegal dealings, once found culpable, will be put before the courts to serve as deterrent to others. I believe with that, there will be sanity within the system, because staff of the ministry who are working within the passport office will protect their image and themselves and their service.
Thank you. Let me bring Osman in, because you've heard the minister when she was being vetted. She talked about how the passport system, the digitized system, was working very well. Now we see her at the passport office, not too happy, firing people who have stayed beyond 1 year. What do you make of her approach in handling this matter?
Bella, good morning again. Good morning to my brother. Before I even go into Shelley Ayokobuchi's, that's her name, right?
Yes.
Rantings. Permit me, let me just use a minute and a half.
Can we do 30 seconds?
Yes, 30 seconds to speak on a very critical issue so far as the youth of this country is concerned. You know, there's been the introduction of this wicked, draconian, and obnoxious tax, which has to do with the 10% tax on the earnings of the beds of young people. And young people are going through excruciating hardship as a result of the inability of the government to provide jobs. Young people are living in a hopeless situation, even though they were promised hope. They are living in a jobless situation, even though they were promised jobs. And they are living in a better Ghana, even though they were promised to live better lives.
10 seconds.
And for that matter, for them to be charged 10% of their earnings on the bed is just extremely wicked. So to add to that, the current youth wing of the NDC has issued a press statement saying that we are going to fight this tax. We are going to have series of engagements. We're going to have series of protests against this wicked tax coming from a government that promised production instead of taxation. Now we've moved from taxation to more taxation to extreme hardship and into further taxation.
All right. Please land on that for me so we can get into our conversation.
Citizens do not see a correlation between what they are being taxed and what they are being given as citizens of the land.
All right.
So now let me come to Madam Shelley Ayoko Boche. Clearly, this is some diversionary tactics coming from the MPP, which is being ably aided by Madam Shelley Ayoko Boche. Clearly, you would realize that the government has been in the news for all the bad reasons you can think of in the past 2 to 3 weeks. So for me, I just see this as some diversionary tactics of a colleague minister who is trying to divert attention or bad publicity towards her other friend of hers or her colleague minister, Cecilia Dapa. And that is clearly what I see.
How are you even drawing a correlation between the two?
I'm coming to that. For the past 2 weeks, you would realize that there's been bad publicity on this government. There's been bad publicity on Madam Cecilia Dapa. Now, you would realize that Shelley Ayoko Boche is trying as much as possible to shift the burden or to shift that bad publicity from the politicians, so far as MPP is concerned, and shift it to the civil servants or shift it to Goro boys. And that will not wash. Now, let me even come to the substantive issue. I just want to know that this is some diversionary tactics, but we will not let it fly. We are still focused on fighting people like Cecilia Dapa. We are still focused on fighting the BOG canker. We are still focused on fighting heavy and serious corruption-related issues. So let us not use this issue of Goro boys to divert attention, but we'll still talk about it. But I want you to know that we are focused on fighting this government so far as corruption is concerned.
Okay.
Now, let me correct another erroneous impression that is being created by my brother here, that the digital system was introduced by this government and people were hailing it. Now, let me read. Online passport application launched to ease process. And this was in 2016. The online system was introduced by the NDC government, by Honorable Hannah Tete. So let us not create the impression as though it was introduced by this government. So for that matter, we should even be happy that there's been an online application or digitalization of the passport process. If you read, you can Google, go online and read. Realize that it was introduced in 2016.
December 2016.
Thank you, by the NDC government. So let them not try to even take credit for that. And if you listen or watch the minister, she was very careful in her choice of words. She moved on to say that it has been fully, meaning that they came to meet something at a certain process and now they have fully digitalized it, or it has gone fully in terms of this e-application. So please get your facts right. Don't say that you have introduced digitization of the passport process. So for that matter, people were happy. Now, the problem is that why is the minister complaining to us? Why is she complaining to us?
What do you expect her to do?
You are the minister, and if you feel there's some corrupt activities or there's some canker within your ministry, act on it. Don't come complaining to us. Why were you put there? Don't come complaining to us. You are the minister. You see, and in all of these issues, let us also ask ourselves, where from this avenue that is being created by Guru boys, we should understand that when the economy is such that there's a lacuna, or people do not find jobs, people will surely find something doing. Bella, why don't you wake up every morning and go to the passport office to be a Guru girl? Because you have a job to do. Every morning you have to be seated here. You have a job to do. Why isn't he going there? He has a job to do. But to the extent that if you promise jobs and you do not provide jobs, people will find work to do. And that is the problem.
But it doesn't justify becoming a Guru boy.
It doesn't justify. But you see, when you want to look at the problem, don't let us just go into the problem. Let us look at the problem holistically. And let us see how we can identify the problem and how we can go about it. Just recently, don't forget, even Alhaji Bawumia said that the introduction of the Ghana card was going to cut off Guru boys. It was going to ease the pressure at the passport office. What has happened to it? So you would realize that this is a government that promises more and does nothing. This is a government that is quick to take credit and does nothing. So I find it very difficult for the minister herself to come complaining to us the public. We should be complaining to her, but it looks like she's now complaining to us. So who should we complain to? You were put there to fix the problem. You were put there to make sure that this issue of Goro boys is clear. You are unable to do that, and you come back to us and you are complaining to us. What level of incompetence
but what she was doing, was
this?
it a complaint, or she was actually firing people and taking action for what was happening there? And she says, don't come to work again if you've been here for more than a year. Is that not a step in the right direction?
She sounded frustrated and she was complaining to us, even though she was taking actions. Now, with the issue of people not coming there if they stay there for more than a year, you remember John Dramani Mahama during his lecture at the Crossroads made a suggestion to the president that when you keep ministers at a place for a very long time, it breeds corruption. It breeds the fact that they become still, they lack ideas. If Madam Ayokoboche is complaining that people have stayed there for 1 year and because of that there's corruption, she herself has stayed there for more than 6 years. She's going to her 7th year. In fact, she's in her 7th year, going to her 8th year. Doesn't she think that she herself needs to be reshuffled? Doesn't she think that staying long there herself also is a problem?
But with the issue of secondment, I mean, we all are aware that, especially for the passport office, there's a belief that they're not supposed to stay there beyond 1 year. They're supposed to be changed just to reduce corruption. I don't know how you relate that to Honorable Shirley Ayokoboche being in that office for 6 years or 7 years.
Exactly the point we are making.
So there's a system that has been put in place at the passport office to ensure that you don't stay there for that long. So we also control the issue of corruption and every other thing that comes with it. How do you relate that to her?
Yes, there's a system in that office that states that you shouldn't stay there for more than 1 year. And John Dramani Mahama, based on his experience as a former head of state of this country and president of this country, also at the Crossroad lecture, proposed that when ministers stay in a particular in a particular ministry for a long time, it tends to breed corruption because then they get used to the system. So I'm saying that the same logic the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs is using to say that these agents or these secondmen should not stay there for more than 1 year. It's the same logic I can extend and also say that the same president of the land should also have reshuffled most of his ministers. So Shirley Ayokoboche herself, using that same logic, should know that she herself has stayed there for long.
Yeah, but she can't take herself out of office.
Yeah, so that's
if her boss doesn't take her out,
that's what I'm saying. That
it doesn't mean that she should also not go and take other people out.
The president himself was being advised at the Crossroads by John Dramani Mahama himself, saying that you needed to reshuffle your entire government. If you do not reshuffle your entire government, you are going to experience some of these things. You are going to experience serious corruption. You are going to experience people who are still and do not have the mindset to implement any new ideas. So you see, the frustration at the passport office, I would just want to sympathize with people who also go there and go through serious levels of corruption, who go there and they experience serious level of frustrations. But I think that for the minister to come out and be ranting, I think it's a step in the wrong direction. I think it was just a diversionary tactics. If she knows the people that are up to the bad things in her office, she should have been there to do the reshuffle. She didn't need that needless media engagement to make all of that noise to come and complain to citizens. She didn't need to come and announce to me that she's doing the work she has been put there to do. She has been put there to work. So if you are working, go ahead and work. Let me get there and realize that there are no Goro boys. The process is seamless. The process is straightforward. There are no roadblocks. But if you are coming back to me or through the media to tell me that what they are doing is bad and for that matter you are going to reshuffle them, please, you were not put there to complain to us. You were put there to fix the problem. So Madam Shirley Ayokoboche should fix the problem. Otherwise, she's just exhibiting her high level of incompetence. And that we will not take from our ministers of state. So please, she should go there and fix the problem. She shouldn't come back to us, complaining to us and explaining to us and beginning to, to go ballistic. I mean, this, and I keep saying that this media diversion will not wash. You cannot now decide to shift the tag of corruption from your officials, your colleague officials, to Goro boys. Please, it would not wash. That is what I see. I see Shirley Ayokoboche trying very hard to shift that whole corruption attention from she and her colleagues to
but she can't do that, and we all know that.
No, but today we are talking about it.
Yes, we're talking about it. An issue that we have talked about for several years about Goro boys. It's something that sometimes, yes, we sweep under the carpet and we act like ostriches, but we know it is a problem. And now the minister says, I'm doing something about it. That's a problem too?
But the minister is supposed to have been doing something about it in the past 7 years. So if on the 7th year she's still coming to tell us that I'm doing something about it, then she's completely incompetent. She has no business being a foreign affairs
Should they have been
minister.
fired outrightly, or do you think that some investigations needed to have been conducted to find out who the real culprits are before this action is taken?
If we still have Goro boys at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs today, and you have a minister who has been there for 7 years, she has no business being there as a foreign affairs. She should be fired first, because for 7 years, if you've not been able to get rid of the Goro boys there, even after we had implemented the e-process to passport acquisition, then you have no business being a foreign affairs minister. She should be sacked. We didn't put them there, or the president didn't put them there to come back and complain to us after 7 years. After 7 years, you are coming back to complain to us about Goro boys within your jurisdiction. Then you have no business being there. You should be sacked outright.
Okay. You should be sacked. I mean, I don't know what you think, Enoch, if you think that she should be sacked, because then that also then goes a long way to let us know that they are working from the top. And if your ideas are still, you need to be out of office.
Bella, this is an outrageous comment coming from my brother that the minister should be sacked. For what purpose? For exercising her mandate as minister of the a minister in charge of foreign affairs and regional integration, having gone to an agency under her ministry and found an untoward action, an untoward situation, and having acted in that regard, and informed the whole nation that investigations are ongoing to resolve the impasse and find an amicable solution to this impasse, he is calling on the neck of the minister to resign. It is worrying to hear this from the NDC, but it is not surprising now, because Osman, as a Muslim, do you support betting? As a Muslim, do you support betting? Let me know your position.
Can we not digress on this matter?
No, he spoke on this matter.
Okay.
You allowed him because it's not part of.
Well, he just said that it's a statement that has been released. Carry on.
You can speak to it. Speak to it. Continue with your point. Continue with your point.
You know, betting. One government introduces taxes is to generate revenue and excise control, just to regulate the conduct of certain ills in society. And looking at the number of youth who are engaged in betting, government finds it diligent to go into it and tax. Our laws prescribe that once you are earning, Bella, you are earning some few Ghana cedis here in media general, but you are taxed at the end of the month. Pay as you earn. Aren't you being taxed?
Okay, carry on.
So why is somebody who is earning an income from betting or from lottery or from a game of chance, the government has introduced a 10% tax on it? Is this news? And they are contesting it, encouraging that the youth should go into betting. I'm asking him.
Is that what they're doing? Do you think that that's an encouragement?
From their statement, and from what the narrative he made here on your show, I'm asking him, Osman Ayariga, as a Muslim, do you support betting? If yes, you tell the Muslim Ummah outside that you are in support of betting. Again, she mentioned that the minister acted within the passport office just to cover up with Madam Sisi Adapa's issue. For once, let sanity prevail. Madam Sisi Adapa has committed no crime. There is a presumption of innocence under Article 19 of our Constitution. And inasmuch as she has not been convicted of any wrongdoing, it does not lie in anybody's mouth to convict her ahead of time.
Okay.
We should allow due process to run. The police investigators are investigating the source of these funds, as directed by the learned Attorney General. The Office of Special Prosecutor is also investigating into the matters with regards to all these matters. The police are investigating money laundering and all those parameters.
Yeah.
The Special Prosecutor is investigating corruption and corruption-related
offense. And that is happening. But is this a diversionary tactic to move the conversation away from what has happened
so
in the last 2
weeks? So why he's introducing the subject matter on this table, it's really outrageous that you must bring him online. We are speaking to the issue of the passport office and the corruption engulfed within the acquisition of passport. As far as our civil and public officers tasked with the responsibility to print passports for the people of Ghana who are in need of passport services are required. And once the Minister of State in charge of the ministry, whose agency is involved with this field, is acting per her mandate, at least we should encourage her in that regard. Okay. And all those material evidence that we have on our hands that can support the investigations and the cleanup of this mess within the passport office, we should all contribute towards that and make sure that the institution of state that is required to give us passports, service the state with passports, protect us, because your identity, it is only a state that can grant passports. So once there is no state, there is no passport.
But can we decentralize the printing process so that if I'm in Koforidua, I don't have to wait for my passport to be printed in Accra and sent to me, and maybe that way I'll use a Goro boy because he can, expedite the process for me?
You see, passport is also a security document. This is a conversation that we must all interrogate to see how feasibility it is to print passports at the various regional offices or district offices or whatsoever.
Okay.
And it is an ongoing conversation. You can raise it, Bella. We all interrogate it. And once democracy is the rule by the people, what the people decide should be the position of the state. If it nears to the bench of the state and the people of this country, why not?
Okay.
But now the conversation is about cleaning up the passport office. And all those material people that have evidence, material evidence to support the cleanup of this mess and to contribute towards the sustenance of the passport office and make the process highly efficient and robust must be implemented.
But the youth are saying, create jobs for us. Give us an avenue to earn money the right way, and we will not be involved in some of these illegalities.
Bella, Goro system, is it a new thing in our country now? Or is it going to end now? Certainly, once there are mechanisms in place, how many jobs have government created? Although we cannot employ everybody, but at least creating an enabling environment alone for the people of this country to thrive in doing your business or the other. It's also an encouragement with regards to commerce.
You have created an enabling environment?
Oh yes, government has created
young people to what? To start their own businesses?
Exactly.
Where are they getting the money to start the business?
The Youth Start programs, the name.
How many young people have benefited from the Youth Start program since it started?
I don't have the figures offhand.
Okay.
I'll just
but because you are saying that an enabling environment has been created for these young people.
Government has been supportive over the years. And true to our words, this government is the only government in this republic that has promulgated an import substitution-led industrialization, i.e. the one district, one factory program or policy. Look at the number of factories in concert with the private sector that has been rolled within a space of about 6-7 years.
How many?
How many of them and how many jobs have been created out of that?
Oh, even if two. I can speak of about 150. Even if
150
it's two.
what? Factories or jobs?
150 factories.
And how many jobs have been created out of that?
More than thousands of jobs.
You are
more than thousands of jobs.
You're saying that based on facts.
It's a fact. More than thousands of jobs. Yeah, more than thousands of jobs.
Based on facts. Which documents are we speaking to? If you're saying more than 1,000, give us the facts.
Oh, in terms of job creation, the budget statement spoke of these policies and those things.
And it says one district, one factory had created more than 1,000 jobs?
And more than 1,000 jobs. When you go
the budget said that?
When you go to a Kunfi fruit juice factory now, right now, the direct employment alone and the indirect employment alone, the farmers who are even servicing this factory with their raw material, their produce, the pineapples and those things, are all as a result of job creation.
And how many are they?
Oh, even a Kunfi alone. Ask the members within the Kunfi enclave.
Give me a number. You are the one here giving numbers.
I can't quote a Kunfi alone because this is a national platform.
Apart from a Kunfi, which other one?
Which are factually inaccurate.
Okay, apart from a Kunfi, which other one?
Apart from a Kunfi, we have Casa de Ropa. We have the boat and nut factory, boat and nut factory in Kumasi. We have a lot of them.
Some of them are actually companies that already existed.
It doesn't matter. Government investing. When at the time of the global economic recession, when the American government invested in Ford Motors and the likes, we do not existing.
Okay.
But pumping money to strengthen them and their capacity to produce and make profits. It's also a form of investment and job creation.
Okay, well, if you look at the live stream, they're saying that give us jobs and we will stop all these illegalities. That's why I was asking you that. But let me just go to Osman. Let's wrap up on this so we can go to our second topic before our time runs out.
Bella, you have promised young people jobs. Young people are still jobless. You promised them a conducive environment, an economy where they can do business for business to survive. Yet young people are being choked with 1,000 taxes day in, day out. NPP government has introduced more taxes. They have introduced new taxes, and they continue to introduce new and bitter taxes to the ordinary Ghanaian, especially the youth. The youth are jobless. After school, there are no jobs. Even the national service, the stipends do not come in regularly. The youth have decided to find ways and means to survive. Bella, this is about survival of the youth. This is about survival of a good number of people who do not have jobs. And you come and tell me that you want to tax it because they win and for that matter, they are making money. Trust me, if you had provided jobs for the youth of this country, they will not be betting every day. If you had provided good, secure jobs for the youth of this country, they will not be on their phones every day gambling. They will not be betting based on the small money.
He says they've created an enabling environment.
What enabling environment have they created?
Some 1,000 youth have been employed.
Please,
In fact, more than 1,000.
Please.
We don't have the facts to back it up.
Let's be serious in this country. They have not provided any jobs. When you start asking them about jobs, when you start asking them about their factories, one time they tell you, oh, we have been able to produce 2,000 jobs. Tomorrow is 1,500 jobs. The next day, you have been able to make sure 150 factories. The next day, 125 factories, 200 factories. They keep throwing up the figures. When you ask them, like the way you asked him, how many jobs, he was fumbling. Where are the factories? He doesn't have them.
Oh, but he mentioned a few.
You start speculating about.
He mentioned about 3 factories.
You start saying about this, about that, about this, about that. We will not take. No, we will not take this. Please.
Please wrap up on this for me, so we can go into our second conversation.
We will not take this. They keep
allow
making noise about factories, but you see, under the NDC, just one factory under the NDC, Ghana Gas, makes nonsense of the over 150 so-called factories you are saying you established under Akufo-Addo, whether direct and indirect jobs, in terms of even saving this country forest. It makes nonsense of over your 150 jobs. So take that from here. And don't you ever try to make this argument about the fact that you have created factories. So for that matter, you've created a conducive environment for the youth. And for that matter, jobs have been created. The next thing
please land for me.
Yes,
we don't have time.
The next thing I would want to talk about is about the fact that we associate ourselves with the teeming and suffering youth of this country. Whether Muslim or Christian, we speak for every youth who is going through hardship. We speak for every youth who is going through the wickedness of this government. Why? This is a government that has ballooned our debt stock. This is a government that has received so much revenue. There's a saying in my language that if you chew the entire cow and you are not satisfied, the head and the feet cannot make you satisfied. After all these monies, over 500 billion in public debt, there's nothing to write home about. It is not the 10% that you are going to tax the youth that are better that is going to change anything. This government is desperate. And for that matter, anything that looks like money, anything that smells like money, anything that even resembles money, they must tax it. And that is our problem.
You didn't answer his question, by the way. He asked you that as a Muslim, do you support betting?
I would support anything any youth is doing to survive. So
anything
far as
at all?
It is legal. So far as it is legal, I support anything any youth is doing to survive under such
including
a
betting.
Government. Yes, betting is legal.
Okay.
I support anything.
Well, yesterday there was a Muslim
youth. I support because I do not speak for only Muslims.
Okay.
I speak for Christians. I speak for traditionalists.
But you're a Muslim. I was just asking that because yesterday a Muslim man called us and said that the religion frowns on it.
I speak on everyone who is a youth of this country because. You would say that because today it doesn't concern me, I won't speak for it. But tomorrow it will concern you, and there'll be no one to speak for you. You keep talking about the fact that you're a Muslim, so you cannot speak for it. You cannot speak. Their own vice president, Alhaji Dr. Wahomia, we are still waiting for you to come out and make a definite position about LGBTQ. Nothing has been said about it. So please don't come here and want to play a moral card. We are talking about people's survival. We are talking about the youth that do not have jobs. We are talking about the youth that you promised. You don't even have the moral right to come and sit and talk about morals. Because if you had that moral right, you would have provided jobs to the youth.
All right.
Because you went into that social contract with the youth.
Noted.
You have not been able to fill those.
Thank you, Osman.
And you come and sit and you want to talk about
Thank you, Osman. Let's move into our next conversation. We don't have time. So on the 26th of July, 2023, there was a coup in Niger, and the President Mohamed Bazoum was toppled by his military leader, the General Commander, Abdurrahman Chiani. Now, weeks down the line, of course, ECOWAS has tried to intervene. They've issued, some laws asking them to restore the country to constitutional rule. That has fallen on deaf ears. And now ECOWAS is threatening to go in there with a military base to restore the country back to constitutional rule. In fact, as it stands now this morning, we're told that some military chiefs of the Economic Community of West African States will again meet in Ghana this morning to consider the possibility of intervening in the Niger Republic. So the meeting is billed for today and tomorrow. It was initially scheduled for Saturday, but had to be postponed. And this is coming after the ECOWAS leaders approved the deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger last week. Now, what do you think of this as a Ghanaian? Do we have the funds for it? Do we think that this is a step in the right direction to even go ahead and also offer some of our military men to support ECOWAS in this fight? There are some senior intelligence officers who don't think that this is the right thing to do. Let's listen to Colonel Festus Abuaji and also Professor Enin on what they have to say on this.
For a civil war case, let's say something similar to Liberia, Sierra Leone, at a point in time, La Côte d'Ivoire. So we are using the standby force for an operation for which it has not been established. But I don't think this is something that can be marshaled within the next 6 to 9 months. And what it means is that it's going to basically open a Pandora's box. And it's not just about what will happen in Niger. It is about, as I said, the narrative about new identities and standing up to colonial powers whose critical interest has been to take resources back to the metropole. But not only that, the Niger case also raises fundamental concerns about issues of security force assistance. What kind of security force assistance do you provide to a country like Niger, in which those who provided the assistance, the US, Czech, Turkey, and France, did not understand the underpinning tensions and stresses within both the military and amongst the political hierarchy?
My attention was drawn to Article 40 of the Ghana Constitution, which covers international relations. Not surprisingly, the first provision under this article is that in our dealings with other nations, our government, the government that we elect, shall promote and protect the interest of Ghana. So what is the interest of Ghana in the intervention in Niger? During the decision, it should be clear that when the government comes out to say that Ghana is going to be part of the ECOWAS intervention, that the government articulates how that is going to serve the national interest. Before you end that provision, it also says that we shall first pursue pacific settlement of disputes, that settlement of international disputes by peaceful means. So the question is, what peaceful means have Ghana been part of? So far, Ghana has not told us what the risks are. You see what I mean? It's just saying that we belong to a multilateral organization called ECOWAS, signed the ECOWAS Treaty and so on and so forth. Does that mean that when ECOWAS is going into a ditch, we go along with ECOWAS into the ditch? Then the government has not told us where it's going to find the means to support this endeavor. Some have suggested it's going to come from France. Look, we're going to compromise our sovereignty, but there's no free lunch anywhere in the world. And I want Ghanaians to go and read Dr. Obed Asamoah's book, that big book, and read how he articulates how both Nigeria and Libya were twisting the arms of Ghana to do the bidding of Nigeria and do the bidding of Gaddafi, just because we're in dire straits and they gave us oil and they paid for our troops in Lekomo. So if Ghana cannot pay for this intervention, Ghana must not be part of it. And I want to suggest that given the economic circumstances that we are in, it can never, or it will be very difficult in the national interest to spend money on this intervention.
Well, if ECOWAS is heading into a ditch, should Ghana also follow ECOWAS into that ditch? Osman, I'll come to you first, because the minority has issued some level of, I wouldn't say warning necessarily, but caution to President Akufo-Addo to not release the military men to support what's going to happen in Niger. Why that?
Not only have the